Hello and welcome everyone. This is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place. Welcome you therefore to the second part of the stream. And today, after a bit of Diablo beginning, we're gonna be having some more Age of Mythology from Champions League 3 hosted by Boit and the community. And hey Nimono, they are gonna be of course on 2-minute delay. And it's going to be therefore punkstar versus Slipknot. We're gonna be starting also their path through the tournament in the qualification round 1, and it's gonna be on Gold Rush, as you can see. And frankly, don't think I have seen this map in Age of Mythology yet, so it's gonna be a new one for me. It's fairly common in Age of Empires too, so I guess it's gonna be following somewhat of a similar idea with plenty gold in the middle. You are starting with 2 in the base. Yes, that seems to be somewhat, no, very similar. Just maybe you'll be expecting some smaller amounts. If it would be proper Gold Rush, I'll be putting them into 1500. As in Age of Empires 2, that is kind of like where you stand. You're gonna be having lower amount of gold in them in general. No, but nonetheless, it's gonna be a best of 3, of course. Fairly standard settings. They can be playing whatever gods they want. They're gonna be having the 3 preset maps. Gold Rush is the first. Then we do have Watering Hole and Savannah as the rest of them. No, and first relic, great canopic jar of Imsative for the infantry training time, and apparently it's gonna be a decently higher hunt map in Generalos, it looks to me, as the gods are gonna be for Slipknot Oranos. He was saying something like that he's a EE player, and I think he has actually streamed as well. Seem to be remembering some streams of his, to be honest, from the past, and kind of like recommending him maybe for at the end of our sessions. But nonetheless, on the other side, punkstar is gonna be playing with Hades, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's his main god. Or he's kind of like Greek main. I'm thinking, of course, playing plenty commonly on Extended Edition, but lately, yeah, well, has definitely learned what kind of goodness Voobly is, or rather the original game, what the goodness it actually is, and what it provides, with second relic being Anvil Hephaestus, also quite an excellent bonus here, Armory and Dwarven Armory up. And for the ratings, punkstar should be the favorite. He's seeded higher, but about like 2100 for Slipknot that he has claimed in the game room, or game lobby rather, I think before we started Age of Mythology, is pretty solid. So I'm thinking that punkstar might be having somewhat of a challenge here ahead of him, as it seems like right now the woodlines on the outskirts are gonna be fairly thorough and deep, it seems to me. Definitely so. But nonetheless, gonna be somewhat of a standard beginning. I'm expecting town centers, you can see, are gonna be pretty open, so it's not entirely all at 100% certain that we are gonna be seeing the early second TC from the Hades. I'm thinking he might be attempting it, but on the other hand, he's not gonna be getting too many other things of that, right? For the Greek, having 2 starting gold mines is usually lasting you for a long enough time to get set up in the mid game somewhat. So I will be expecting that to not be entirely that much of a serious problem. But he's gonna be having a challenge, actually keeping, I'm thinking, his food okay. So I'm thinking that for Slipknot, having the Oranos here, I'm not legitimately sure what is his main god. But Oranos seems like a fairly good civ here. For the early raids, some classic 430 advance. So yeah, expecting that's gonna be a somewhat of a good matchup for him. It's always gonna be hard against Hades, but he can possibly slow him down pretty well. He just really shouldn't be delaying too much and should be trying to reach really solid 430. Maybe even going kind of like the 4 few seconds after. I don't know if it's like 05 or 07, whatever. Simply the 4-minute advance. You can also advance slightly below 4 minutes with certain builds. I mean, like the food is really high here. So I'm thinking that might be a possibility. We'll see if maybe somebody is gonna be attempting kind of like a gameplay of that ilk. Ajax up, of course, smashing for that very interesting upgrade and relic. The other one is gonna be also not entirely too bad to pick up, because usually you are gonna be wanting to have some infantry as the Hades. On the other hand, it's gonna be also sweet to take it away from the Murmillo maker on the other hand, another side of the map, because Murmillos are of course in the first place made pretty quickly. Now this villager should be of course from the other side. On the other hand, he would be close to jump into the tower, but again, would be safer for him to be from the bottom. Yes. Or avoid any kind of gathering whatsoever, because he's gonna be just needing, frankly, for Vaults of Erebus, I guess. Or Vaults of Erebus for Chiron, rather, first and foremost. That's gonna be the important part, what he wants. And moving for a further hunt, yes, as we expected. And this should be the potential goal for Red, which he probably doesn't see yet. It's ending about here. Not sure if we saw any kind of release, but he's gonna be more checking out actually the town centers. You can see, yeah, he's just like well aware of the current meta, of course, and wants to be keeping it fair and square in his point of view so that he sees what's up. Classic military barracks, counter barracks somewhere in the base, of course, next to gold. So far, all right. And you can see that as you were talking about maybe the possibility of Slipknot slowing down punkstar. Well, so far it looks to me that it's gonna be rather actually Slipknot getting a bit delayed. And it's actually fairly important that it's gonna be on the military barracks. Because you might be thinking Hades, archers, Turmas are gonna be better. Not really. The Turmas kinda like are not the important part. Murmilos are way more legit in the early stages. So this delay, not entirely certain why they didn't pick the second village here to be worthwhile, even some idle time on the TC here. But nonetheless, that's gonna be there for also with the Minotaur right in spot. Coming forward to destroy that, and unfortunately, even cost the villager. That's a pretty big loss. And with currently the second TC therefore getting easily finished. You can say now Chiron is gonna be in place to protect against the little Promethean. No, so far going everything pretty well for Punkstar. And Slipknot unfortunately hasn't been able to utilize the early power that we were expecting he could be having. I think of course getting researched. Pop limit is not gonna be that much important now. Just maybe a bit of a problem with Slipknot as he has been disrupted basically like up and down. Yeah, I can say now the Turmas, sure, kind of cool. Minotaur is gonna be having a bit of a problem, and very nice tanking by the Kataskopos. It probably wasn't on purpose, but it's working pretty nicely. 60% or how much he has of the pierce resistance, practically giving extra hit points, especially to the Minotaur here. Like in that. That was a nice result. And well, TC done. Gonna be having sentinels, because obviously he doesn't have any protection there with the towers. So, like in how smart right now Punkstar is playing. And Punkstar in general is a fairly interesting player. He has started, it's gonna be like 2 years ago maybe. He has started streaming regularly and playing. And already has improved quite a bit. Kind of slightly reminds me of Grass and Groom, where, well, to be honest, Grass and Groom is, well, grinding on a bit of a different level and improving really also awesomely. But I kind of do see certain parallels in there starting at similar times. So it's kind of cool to be seeing new players actually rising and giving it a go. So we'll see how far they are going to be both able to rise. And of course, potentially even plenty others. But it still seems like that the Champions League 3 here is gonna be probably in the power of kind of like the older schools still probably. Like Chemo, of course, and Matreus. Maybe gonna be having some older schoolers coming back, like Brighead, Miracle Man, Count von Count, maybe. We'll see. It's gonna be fun. Then, of course, we do have Shadowfax and other people like that who are gonna be trying their best. Maybe Goldline is gonna be surprising, who knows. But Goldline has never had too much of a success in our Nuyan tournaments. He frankly hasn't really played in them too much. And just like he's an excellent team game player, really one of the best, frankly. He has been always quite a bit outstanding in his roles in RTS League. But then, well, we'll see. Maybe this is gonna be his breakthrough tournament. But to be honest, he has been playing for like just a few months, if I'm not mistaken, and streaming as well. You can find him on Goldline. Is he having 0 instead of the O in there? Maybe. Not sure right now, but you can find him streaming fairly commonly in the evenings for the Brazilian time. But nonetheless, let's go for a comeback through game. I can say that the first kerfuffles are happening at a very comfortable time for Punkstar. Everything waited for him, because he kind of worked for that as well, so nicely done as Banderos. Really? Oh yeah, really. He's having plenty cows still. So that's not a problem. And there's still gonna be some further hunt to the top. Just kinda looking at the bears. By the way, the normal bears are having also 2 hundo, or is it only polar bears? I'm just not 100% certain if there is not any kind of difference there. But there is definitely right now gonna be the difference, is the fact that you can see the Poppy is gonna be the same, which will be favoring Punkstar because he does have Greek stronger units. The bear is gonna be at 2 hundo as well, so it's gonna be some grizzly probably. By the way, just like randomly, polar bear is actually a huge animal. Way bigger than even grizzly. I've seen some kind of comparison recently, but just like random thought here. Just, yeah, you can look that up. Polar bear is like 5 meters long or whatever kind of nonsense. He's really a huge beast. And he's in his power and prime, and Grizzly's like, I don't know, like 3, 4, something like that. Bit shorter. And yes, Jefferson, definitely liking the different maps as well. It's always fun. That's why we always included them in RTS League as well. And we kind of like started with including them a bit more seriously. And hopefully it was a piece of why we are seeing a bit more of those as well recently in the years. Even of course added into the normal map pool. I'll be really kind of happy for even more of those. But yeah, people are people unfortunately. And then they can be quite a bit resistant to certain changes. Looking, for example, at the food, he's gonna be having to switch into farms very soon. He's having some wood here, not entirely that much. Okay, TC is gonna be still open. Gonna be having some further hunt here. Yeah, he needs to be already farming quite a bit, so it's gonna be requiring tons and tons on his account as far as the wood. So he better be prepared for that, and he doesn't seem to be too much. He's at least partially switching, but it might be a slight challenge. No one can say right now on the economy, as at least the second DC is gonna be finally finished for Slipknot. Well, we do have what, 2.5, so that's gonna be 24, 30 villages approximately, with 52 for punkstar. You can definitely see who is going to be much better off around here. At least on the pop limit, we are gonna be somewhat actually on equal ground. Chicken arrows still available potentially for Slipknot with no further economical upgrades. On the other side, missing, for example, the basic plow. But I guess it's gonna come soon. No. I'll be wishing that it did. As it should be. But, well, otherwise for the military building goes, just checking around what's up here. 2, 2, and 1. Very interesting build-up. Just one archer range here. Double stables. It's kind of like interesting combo. Usually gonna be, of course, fine with cavalry, but the problem is it's gonna be taking long to make. So you want to be having some backup of the hoplites that are at 14. Yeah, 14 seconds. Murmillo is 12. That's where Canopy Jar with further 15% less, which is practically like a 7th, right? So gonna be like almost 2 seconds less. It will be for the Murmillos. They'll be like made in 10 seconds, for example. So the differences are fairly significant and maybe seem in small numbers, but they do matter. For example, typically, that's why Ulf Sachs with Odin are so great. 9 seconds build time. You're just gonna be able to outspam even the damn Atlantean with his OP timings. And you can say it now, already gonna be having medium Hippicons, which is nice. This needs to be, of course, avoiding the nonsenses. No, that's gonna be a bit of an interesting sneak maybe in there by Slipknot, because I'm not sure if punkstar is gonna be expecting that. He's rather more thinking about his own town center to protect that one. Making sense at this point from his point of view, because I mean, like, he's playing it safe at this point, and that's what he mentioned yesterday with the first match that we streamed between Super Afim and Anti-Raider. It's in the highlights here in the channel if you're interested. Should be putting it on YouTube probably tomorrow if time allows. And that you are having a tricky first round of the qualification, because you kind of maybe don't know even the players you are gonna be playing against. Okay, that's the top. 123, 120, still keeping it real. Should be a pretty good fight for punkstar, frankly. When he's gonna be having pop limit of Greek units, he should be fine here, especially with medium Hippicons, for example, there. Yeah, I can say now that's the victory. Would be like maybe a bit more archers in there, the second archer range, but yeah, we can say right now victory is achieved anyway. Because it's a bit too heavy on food, the army that he has. So therefore he's delaying himself on the heroic and potentially even advances upgrades on the units. So that's maybe very slightly less comfortable, and would be better to be having better ratio on the archers there. And what I was actually talking about, yes, that you have in the early qualification rounds, players you might not know, and it's only best of 3, so therefore you're looking for 2 games. And if you're gonna be underestimating the opponent and suddenly losing game 1, for example, then you're gonna be facing, you mess up once, or I don't know, some kind of connection problem happens, whatever along those lines, and suddenly you might be facing a huge problem of even dropping the second game and you're gone. So it's very much advisable not to be in such situations, underestimating anybody or anything, and simply play to your abilities and capabilities and not just like destroy if you can. Do your best in that, but nonetheless, 30 EC is therefore finished from both sides so far. finished and done, at least for the time being. So gonna be having to, by the way, look what the TBT clan is for Slipknot. It's gonna probably something like the Brazilian something, maybe, I'll be expecting. Possibly. Possibly so. And I can say it now would be also like in medium Murmilos here for sure. We're gonna be getting medium Hoplites from punkstar. By the way, he still hasn't used it. I was kind of thinking he didn't use the restoration, so potentially is gonna be still a chance for some kind of fun fight. Yeah, he definitely needs some kind of protection here on the gold mine. Still a bit far away, and that's kind of like the whole purpose of the gold rush, right? You're gonna be having gold mines in the middle that are gonna be widely unprotected. Like in punkstar, how he's kind of preparing some tactical walls so that he can immediately disengage in case something goes wrong for him in the fight. That is very nice indeed. And this is smelling... attack into the... Toxotai, that smells like a restoration fight. No, at this point not, because he's disengaging. If he were fighting, that would have been definitely restoration. And to be honest, it's gonna be nice maneuver at the start, but it's still going to be resulting into quite a bad fight. He was waiting for the medium Murmillo upgrade, it looked to me. So, mistimed, unfortunately. And that's gonna be costing him further losses, further S, and therefore, quite possibly, of course, they advance into Heroic. And considering we have already seen Aphrodite getting all pumped and beautied up for right now Mr. Punkstar from the Walker team. No. Thinking that he's gonna be not entirely expecting and having too many great times at this point, Slipknot. Though these battles that the battle that right now Punkstar is undertaking is maybe a bit unnecessarily early and bloody for him, but he's gonna be getting somewhat of a victory, but yeah, well, right now with the curse, if there was some kind of like influx of units too much, you'll be fine as well. But yeah, this is quite a bit of a bad battle for Slipknot in the end still. Punkstar broke through that. I was kind of thinking it would be better to wait for the curse and for the heroic, maybe some kind of early upgrade, and then take the fight. He will be winning a bit more comfortably. But that's also kind of our knowledge that we know that the heroic age was not coming for Slipknot, and Punkstar just kind of like maybe didn't want to be risking it. That there will be some Stimfalians out of nowhere and all kinds of nonsenses like that. So that's gonna be Town Center gone for sure. It seems like it was a GG already written in there, not entirely certain. Yes, there was a GG already written in, and that means with Restoration and Curse cast as kind of like to showcase the power of his gods and goddess as well. Goddess is actually too. Goddess is there. It's gonna be Punkstar right now taking the first game into a full victory. So congratulations, and well, still gonna be taking, of course, at minimum one more game to see the full result of it all. By the way, TBT, Tropa da Brasilia. Yeah, I was kinda thinking it's gonna be something with Brazil in there. Tropa da Brasilia for Slipknot. Okay, so good. And let's therefore right now check it in into maybe some kind of quick upgrades, and then we're gonna be heading into game number 2. Or the irrigation shaft mine, very nice. Very good start. Disrupting the military academy, military barracks rather. It was incredibly important and just kind of like set up the pace for the rest of the game, because it gave all the time to Punkstar to finish the TC without interruption and also get himself onto the army there too. You can see even double copper upgraded through the Anvil of Hephaestus. Well played. So in the post game, exactly 2,500. You can see on the rest 2.5 and 3, 5,500 resources extra. Pretty damn good, and ratio unfortunately not gonna be there for Slipknot, but very good advance also for Punkstar, to be honest. Well done. It was a good game by him. 13 Prometheans, damn, that's actually higher than I would have expected. GG.